So my name is Lisa Ellison, and I am doing my extra credit as a eulogy to my very first dog, Teddy Palm, who passed away last year. So on March 15th of last year, I experienced a really great loss, the loss of my best friend, my dog, Teddy Palm, who had been together for 9 years, passed away really suddenly of cancer. So I'm sure some of you are saying, how can you feel a deep loss for a dog? It's just a dog. So I really want to go in and just tell you how he really changed my life. So 9 years ago, I was walking through a mall, and I saw a cute little Pomeranian puppy in the store window. So adorable, so tiny. I went into the store and I was kind of playing with him in the pen, and the store worker came over and said, would you like me to take him out so you can hold him and play with him? And I was like, sure. So took this dog to this like secluded area in the store, and we sat down and we just played, and before I knew it, an hour had gone by and we were still playing. I was just falling in love with this dog, and I called my husband on my cell phone and said, hey, weirdest thing, I'm at the mall, and I'm playing with this dog, and I'm like in love with him, and I'm thinking of bringing him home. And my husband, very practical, said, hey, a dog isn't an impulse purchase. A dog is something that you think about, that you plan for. You have to change your whole life to accommodate this dog. It's not an impulse purchase, so definitely don't do this. Really think about what you're doing. So hung up the phone, knew he was right, went to the store worker, like motioned her to come over, so I was going to tell her to take the dog back. And when I looked down on the floor, I noticed that Teddy Palm had my car keys, and he was walking away from me, like running with my car keys. And I took that as a sign that he didn't want me to leave, that he wanted me to own him. And I was sunk from that minute on. I gave the store worker my credit card, and Teddy Pom Pom was mine to take home, and I took him home that day. So you can imagine the shock that my husband had. And when I came home, I truly wasn't prepared for owning a dog. A dog was something I had never owned before. I was a complete neat freak, so had everything in its place and a place for everything, and really kept my house in order, so was not prepared for what a puppy, let alone a dog, would do. But Teddy really taught me that lesson. He taught me that poop and pee accidents happen, messes are going to happen, chewed shoes are going to happen, and they did. And that it wasn't the end of the world, and that I was going to need to learn to relax and roll with the punches. And we definitely learned that together, a lesson he taught me that I still use today, and I'm entirely thankful for today. When you fast forward a couple years, Teddy Palm, as he was about 4 years old, started to get a little sick. He got chronic pancreatitis, and another thing that snuck up on us was epilepsy. He had constant seizures. So I would help him through those. There were many nights where I would be up with him all night pacing the floor. We had lots of medical treatments, lots of medications. I was there with him as his constant companion when he wasn't feeling well. And I go back to 1 year when I really had a horrible flu, 103 temperature, and I was just really sick, and I didn't want to wake anyone else in the house up, and I went and just laid on the bathroom floor where it was cool, where it was quiet. And I remember looking over and finding Teddy Palm just laying next to me on the bathroom floor, and he laid there all night with me, just a constant companion. And I really look at that as he was sick and I took care of him, and I was sick and he was going to take care of me. We were just like peanut butter and jelly, and going to take care of each other. Constant presence. When my grandparents died, he was my calming presence, licking my face while I cried. When we had horrible days at work, he was my wagging tail waiting for me when I came home. Whenever anything bad happened, Teddy was my constant calming presence, my best friend. I knew that if I didn't like somebody, he wasn't going to like them either. He never had to say a word, I just knew. So fast forward last year, Teddy started to cough quite a bit. He did quite a bit of coughing, and quite a bit of coughing and quite a bit of pacing, like he couldn't breathe or couldn't catch his breath. So took him to the vet, and they ran some tests, and I had to go fly out of town for a business trip. And when I came back, the vet called me on the phone and said, unfortunately, Teddy's got a mass in his lungs and it's inoperable, and he doesn't have much time left. And I remember just being so sad and driving home and opening the door, and his tail was wagging when he met me, and my heart just was melting. It was breaking. I didn't know what to do, and I just sat on the floor, and I started crying a bit, and I said, when it's time, Teddy, you'll let me know, right? Because I can't do this if you don't help me. I need to know when it's time. I want to keep you forever, and I just need to I need you to tell me when it's time for me to let you go, because I won't be able to do it unless you tell me. And he licked my face, and in that instant, I knew that he was going to help me through this. Even though it was his illness, he was going to help me through this. So, you fast forward a couple weeks, and I noticed Teddy was having a bad day. He wasn't eating, he wasn't drinking, he was really struggling that day, and I sat on the floor with him, and I was holding him, and I just looked in his eyes and said, is it time? And he licked my face, and I knew. And we made the long trip to the vet together, and it was our last ride together, and it was so special and so touching, and we just talked, and I just talked to him and really felt in a good place, and I got to be able to be there when he passed on, and gave him a really dignified death. And it was just a true impact from the moment he entered my life to the moment he left my life, something I can never repay him for, and quite frankly something I could never pay anyone to give me is what Teddy gave me. And I just want his life to be a lasting memory of the lessons that he taught me.